को नहीं लगता है ये। Okay, so we all started our discussion on Balbodh Patmala Part 2, and in this second part of the beginner series of Jainism, we have started with a discussion on passions, which are kashayas, and the sins, papa, right? And one thing specifically which we uh, tried contemplating was this, that sins are nothing but the passions which are materialized into actions. So the pap is the translation of kashayas into action, correct? But very important thing which is mentioned in the lesson of pap, which I'm sure you all must have gone through. I would want to have a quick look at that, which is the biggest sin as mentioned in the chapter of sins. The biggest sin which is mentioned in the chapter of five sins. Anybody who can tell me?
Greed.
Sorry?
Greed. Greed.
Greed.
Yes.
Greed. Okay.
Wrong,
Is it greed? Yes,
myth-
Belaji? Yes.
wrong belief. Mithya.
Yeah, wrong belief. Yes, so generally, greed is called the father of all sins, but the great grandfather of all sins is actually wrong belief, mithyatva. So that's how it starts. The chapter starts at okay, the biggest sin is greed, because from greed, all other sins originate. But then the intervention is there that no, why are you even have greed? Why do you even have greed? What is the reason for you to have greed? So greed is originating out of this belief that if I own that beautiful thing, I'm going to be happy. And that wrong belief is leading me towards taking all means to own that thing. So whether do I take it by the means of violence, that becomes hinsa, by the means of a lie, that becomes lie, jhoot, by the meaning of stealing it, it becomes chori, by the means of using my power and suppression, that may end up being kushi, or generally just acquiring it through our hard work to purchase it, to own it through the means of parigraha. All these sins are originating from this simple belief that our happiness depends on the accumulations we have. The things we own decide the quality of our happiness. This misconception is the originator of all sorts of sins. So, if I believe that you can create harm to me, you can harm me, then I would be more proactive and then I would want to defend myself and I'll try to even use arms. I would want to use some safety, guns, whatever. Because I think that you can kill me, then it becomes my duty to protect me, to save myself. And in that turn, I would not hesitate to kill you. So the violence is originating, the lie, the falsehoods, the stealing, everything is originating out of the wrong belief. Yes, Kripaji.
I had a question, if that's okay, about this topic.
Yes, please.
Okay, what is how do you differentiate between Baobab and Gashais?
Very beautiful question. So, how do we differentiate between the sins happening in our thoughts and the passions? Are these two different things? I'll tell you again, it's only the different usage of the same thing. I'll tell you only there are if one thing if I have to sum up all the thoughts of this jeep, the thoughts which are capable of attracting karmic influx, which are capable of karma bandha. If I have to use one word, I will call them moh. If I have to use generalized one word which everybody understands because moh gets a bit sophisticated, so I will use rag or attachment. Not attachment actually. Attachment is a generalized word. The major enemy of jeev is delusion, which is moh. Moh is being delusional, that you think that you have so much, but in real sense, you own nothing. You have nothing. So you're living in a delusion. So moh is one word which explains the fault of this chief, that where are we going wrong? So if you ask me that in one word, if I say what is my crime, I will call it mithyatva or delusion or moh. All these are synonymous. If you want to use one generalized way of, easy for a larger public to understand what do I mean by moh, we'll simply call it rag, right? So attachment is the generalized word, but the rag is not that intense. Moh is intense. So if I have to use it for the general public, I will say that rag is my enemy. If I have to talk to intellectuals, I would say nahi, moh, the mithyatva is my enemy. Then if I have to name two enemies, then I will say rag and dvesh. If you'll ask me three enemies, I'll say moh, rag, dvesh. If you'll ask me four enemies, I'll say krodh, man, maya, lobh. If you'll ask me five enemies, I'll say hinsa, jhoot, chori, kushil, parigrah. They are all the names of one. Uh, it is the same modes of the same attribute of soul, which is called charitra. So charitra gun has different names when it functions in a bad state. In ashuddha pariyay of charitra gun, they are named by different names. In one word, you can call it moh or rag. Two words is rag dvesh, three words is moh rag dvesh, four words krodh man maya lobh, five words hinsa jhoot chori kushil parigrah. You want more words? Then we have 25 names for this very thing, right? So we'll have Anantanubandhi krodh man maya lobh, Pratyakhanavaran krodh man maya lobh, Sanjulan krodh man maya lobh, Pratyakhanavaran krodh man maya lobh, Hasya rati arati, Shok bhai jugupsa, Strivet purushvet napunsakve. So there are 25 names of charitra, charitra. Okay, so these are all synonymous. Therefore, we had this discussion in the last session so that we have this clarity that we do not have an option whether to do sins or kashai. Okay, I'll not do sins, I'll go with kashai. They are the same things. Sins are rather more industrialized form of kashai. Kashais are not synthesized. When the kashais go into production, they produce sins. So they are more mature form of passions, the sense, but we are talking about the same thing. So bhav pap is always kashai because when I am doing violence, so violence is an act that I am killing somebody. So that is act being done by body. But at that time, while I am trying to kill somebody, what are my thoughts? They are of bhav, hinsa, or anger. I'm angry. So my bhav hinsa is anger. So anger to is kashay. Anger is kashay. So kashay will only translate to sin. So anger turns to violence. Deceit, mayachari comes to falsehood, comes to stealing. Greed takes you to kushil. Greed takes you to parigraha. So the action is sin. The emotion is passion. And they both are working in collab. ओके फाइन ठीक है चलिए so now today what we thought is we'll do a bit of prayer as well because the second part is more on the second part of Balbodh Patmala is focusing more on giving us more insight into Jainism. So all the important concepts of Jainism are included. I'll tell you the names of the chapter if you have seen in the glossary. I'll just share. So you will have a better idea, and I think most of us know a lot about these topics. So it's good that if we get an easy insight, beginner's guide to this. Okay, just a second. Yes, I have to say. See, if I'll see it over here, how many things do we have? The first is prayer. Second chapter is on sins. the 5 types of sins. Hinsa, jhoot, chori, kushil, parigrah. Third chapter is on passions, krodh, man, maya, lobh. The fourth chapter would be, how do we ensure that our conduct is good? So it will be on good conduct. Okay? Like how the basic things that we have to lead a respectable life. Okay, so that will be good conduct. It's simple, very simple things that we need to have. The basic bare minimums of every Jain householder is in the fourth chapter. The fifth chapter is about the consequences, that why are we even here? So, because we contemplated that in this world, the soul never dies, it transmigrates. Then, what are the options after death that I might expect that I might take the form of? So, there are phases of life. How many phases of lives are there? So, gatis actually. So, Narak, Tiryansh, Dev, and Manushya. So that we'll be discussing in the fifth chapter. The sixth chapter, then once you have understood that okay, my sins are this, my passions are this, how I can be a good person. So my good conduct is this, and what are the repercussions, consequences of my doing sins or abstaining from doing sins? What are the consequences? In which phases of life may I take birth in, based on my karmic actions, based on my emotions? Then afterwards, I started digging deeper and I started asking questions that why are we even here? Why do I have to transmigrate? Why do I have to go from one body to another, from one place to another? So then we are then introduced to these substances as explained by Tirthankaras. The sixth chapter is about 6 substances. Jeev, Pudgal, Dharma, Dharma, Akash, Kal. And the seventh chapter introduces us to the last Tirthankara of this time. In the first part, we got exposed to the story of Tirthankar Rishabdeva. In this, we are exposed to the story of Tirthankar Bhagwan Mahavir Swami. And in the eighth chapter, we'll again end with the prayer of Jinvani, prayer of the voice of the God. So Jinvani is voice of the God. Okay, so this is the overview. It's a very simple, for us, it's actually uh, 1 hour read the whole bhag, and most of the things we already know. Therefore, we are just having a run through these bhags, right? These part one and part two of Balbodh Patmal, right? So today, we are trying to start with a very beautiful prayer, and that prayer is often to be like in the part one we learned about the video of Dev Darshan, that what to do when you go to Jain temple. So one thing was mentioned that if you have any prayer in your memory, if you can recall any prayer, so after doing Namokar mantra and Chittari Mangal Path, you should recite a prayer. So, what prayer can we recite? So, one of the beautiful prayers, has been given in this part, lesson one of this chapter. Why we are particularly going to read this? Because it has a lot of good things that we are actually how a prayer should be. It's an ideal prayer that every mumukshu should have you know if, not if you cannot remember the words, at least you have the this is what I want. Okay, so see, let's read this prayer. Veet Rag Sarvagya Hitankar. Balbodh Patmala Bahag Part 1, the chapter Tirthankar and Bhagwan. Who is Bhagwan? Bhagwan is somebody who's Vitragi and Sarvagya. Who is Tirthankar? Who is also Hitopadeshi. So, the definition of general Bhagwan in Jainism, Vitrag Sarvagya Hitankar. One who is devoid of all attachments, Vitrag. Sarvagya is all knowing, omniscient, and Hitankar is preacher of the right faith, Hitopadeshi. Bhavijan ki ab puro aas. Bhavijan means hum, Bhavya Jeev. We are called Bhavyajeev means who have who are fortunate. I would put it this way in generalized, in a language which is not very sophisticated, because when we call somebody Bhavya, there is a whole new type of debate which is invited. So Bhavya is generally a person who is capable of attaining moksha. Then the question comes, okay, so are there some jivas who are not capable of attaining moksha? And the Jinvani will say, yes, there are a few jivas who will never attain moksha. And then again, you will counter question. The first preaching of Tirthankar Mahavir was all souls are equal. Now you are saying there is a division. There are some souls and there are some souls which are abhavya, which will never see liberation. So this is a distinction now, and now not everybody is equal. Yeah, so it leads to a different debate. Therefore, I'm calling Bhavya as fortunate beings. Okay, those who have the fortune of uh, this contemplation that I have to make my life beautiful. I have to lead a peaceful, well calculated, well driven life. So Bhavijan means we all fortunate beings कि अब puro as. Puro means complete. As means desire, hope. So, oh dear Vitrag Sarvagya Hitopdeshi Bhagwan, it is my humble request that you complete or you fulfill our hopes. What is our hope? We want a dream house, dream car. No. ज्ञान भानु का उदय करो मम. Mam means mine. Gyan Surya, the sun of knowledge. Bhanu is sun. Gyan is knowledge. The sun of knowledge. Let the sun of knowledge shine upon us, that may there is a sunrise of knowledge in myself. And because of that sunlight, because of that sunrise, the great darkness of wrong belief, mithyatam ka hoye vinash. Oh dear Bhagwan, I am dealing with this great darkness of wrong belief, and the sunrise of good knowledge is really needed. So please, I pray to you that let the sun of knowledge shine upon me to destroy the great darkness of wrong belief. Okay, this is what we actually want. We do not want any um, object of senses. We do not want good health, good food, good family. These are too ordinary things to ask. Let's not ask anything that does not uh, makes our future, that does not make our future better. Future means not future 10 years down the line, the future after we bid goodbye to this birth, the future which nobody knows about, the future where nobody comes with us, the future where we have no knowledge about our whereabouts, where we are going to be, in what form, to which family, to which condition, we have no idea about it. So it is only the right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct that is going to be our friend. So our prayer is to let go of mithyatva and to attain right knowledge, right conduct, right belief, samyak darshan, gyan, and charitra. Okay, this is the prayer. This is how Jains do prayer. They do not ask for good health, long life, prosperity, beauty. We do not want anything of that because that will be decided by our karmas. What we want to get rid of mithyatva and we want to adorn ourselves with Ratnatraya. Okay. जीवों की हम करुण अब see the conduct which we are. What should we do? जीवों की हम करुणा पालें, झूठ वचन नहीं कहें कदा, पर धन कबहु न हरहु स्वामी, ब्रह्मचर्य व्रत रखें सदा. The prayer has started the second lesson. The second lesson is of pap. First pap is hinsa. So what I want, I will not do hinsa. So what will you do? Jivo ki ham karuna. I'll be kind to all types of life, all forms of life. Jivo, let us be kind towards all living creatures, all forms of life. So jivo ki means I'll not do hinsa. Second sin is jhoot. So I'm saying I will never speak the lies. So let us not tell lies. Paradhan kabahu na harahu Swami, nor will I do stealing. Let us not deprive others of their belongings. I will not. Paradhan means others' property, others' money. I will not take others' possessions. I will not devoid them of their possession. I will not deprive them of their belongings. And Brahmacharya, I will not do Kushi, the fourth path. Brahmacharya Vrata Rakhen Sada. I will not, for my happiness, I will not uh, put somebody else's dignity at trouble. So let us be celibate. Okay, fine. The second stanza talks about four sins. Then the fifth and the biggest sin comes. Trishna, lobh, bade na hamara. Trishna is what? It's the intense greed. Like, when there are two words in Sanskrit. One is Trisha, other is Trishna. So what is Trisha? Trisha is when you are thirsty. It's your thirst. So when you're thirsty, remember when you were like, very thirsty and there was no water. It was very hot. You were sweating all day and there was no water, not even a single drop of water you could get. And after 3, 4 hours of enduring that thirst, you finally get small, a half cup, disposable cup filled in half with water. Now you drink it, correct? Even that little quantity brings so much of relief to us, right? So, thirst is what? Thirst makes us helpless. We just need water by any means, by any chance. So, what thirst is to body, what Trisha is to body, Trishna is to soul. Simple. Okay. So it is the thirst of a different kind. A child, you have taken a child to maybe a mall and there was a toy shop and you passed through that toy shop. There was no plan that, you have to buy any toy for the child, but the toy has seen it and now he wants it. And you're in hurry. You cannot take out time to enter the toy store. But the child, he stops walking. वहां पर he starts creating a drama scene. He'll cry. Tears will roll down his eyes, right? What is it? What is making him act like this? He suddenly had the surge of greed. It's not greed, it's not lobh, it's Trishna. He may already have 5 dolls. The child, the baby girl would already have 5 beautiful dolls. But now, because she has seen a new doll, which is there on the display of that shop, she would want it. And you cannot convince her that you already have 5 at home. You already have prettier dolls than this. But no. So that surge in desire is called Trishna. Okay? So Trishna is the advanced form of greed. So I'm saying Trishna, lobh bade na hamara. We'll never be greedy. We'll never have intense desires of owning something. So against parigraha, pap, these lines are. So what should we do? Tosh sudha nit piya kare. Tosh means santosh, satisfied, being contented, being satisfied with what you have. You make peace with what you have. या सो जो प्राप्त है वो पर्याप्त है. इट इज इनफ व्हाट आई ऑलरेडी हैव. सो तोष सुधा, उसको क्या बोल रहे हैं? व्हाट द satisfaction, the contentment, it is being called as nectar, amrit. Sudha is amrit, nectar. Yeah, elixir. What tosh means? See, even if I have everything that I need, I can be the wealthiest person on this planet. But if I do not have contentment, if I am not satisfied, then my life is more miserable than a person who barely meets his ends, who barely has, something, that can make up for the total food he requires in a day to feed his family. But he's contented. He remains happy. So a person without santosh, without satisfaction without contentment can have everything and still be miserable. And a person with little means but with contentment will be happy. So, therefore, the real wealth is contentment, is satisfaction, is santosh. And the real enemy is greed. So, greed is such that grass is always on the greener on the other side. What you will have will lose its value. As long as you did not have it, it will look all glittery, all beautiful. The moment you own it, it will lose its charm. Now you will find something else to own. So that is the curse of greed. If you have greed about one thing, you are perpetually in the cycle of greed. You're going to end up there. Why? Because you initially thought that something else will make you happy. So when you had something, there were some more things which were still you were devoid of. So your this emotion will always keep on telling you that okay, you should also have that. You should also have that. You should also have that. Okay, you have right now this, but this is not the latest version, or they are releasing the latest version of this. You already have this, but something new in this has come up in the market. So the person who does not have contentment, who is not easily satisfied, who does not practice simplicity, that okay, what I have is enough, sufficient, that person will never be happy no matter how much he owns. Right? So, see, simple. In the first stanza, we remembered what Bhagwan is. So, Vitrak Sarvagya Tankar. And we clearly stated our intent of going down to him, that we want to get rid of our impurities, our wrong belief, and we want the right knowledge, right conduct, right belief. This was a very noble prayer. What we did discuss in Namokar Mantra part, right? That we're not begging about anything. Then we said, okay, I still want to beg something. To what I'm saying, that, oh, Bhagwan, may I never indulge in the sins of hinsa, jhoot, chori, kushil, and parigrah. This is what is done in the subsequent three lines. जीवों की हम करुणा पालें, हिंसा, झूठ वचन कभी नहीं कहें सदा कदा, झूठ, परधन कबहु न हरहु स्वामी, क्रोरी, ब्रह्मचर्य व्रत रखें सदा, कुशील, तृष्णा लोभ बड़े न हमारा, तोष सुधा नित पिया करें. This is parigraha. So we'll not do parigraha, we'll not do kushil, we'll not do chori, we'll not do lying, we'll not do hinsa. This is what we told in front of Bhagwan. Okay. Then the sixth line is very beautiful. श्री जिन धर्म हमारा प्यारा, तिसकी सेवा किया करें. Oh Bhagwan, first let me ask you guys is, what is the meaning of jinn? Jinn. We all
It's
are
victory.
jains, right? Jains. So
I
why
thought
are
it's
we called
victory.
jains? Out of 24 Tirthankara, is there any Tirthankara who is named Jaina? He is Jain, like Mahavir Jain, Rishabdev Jain, Sambhavnath Jain, Shantinath Jain. From where is this word coming? Jain. Why are we being called Jain? We're saying Jai Jinendra. So what is Jin? What is Jinendra? What is Jain?
I thought Jin comes from victory. It's
Yeah, so the
the Jinendra is
victor,
victory over the Indriyas.
yeah, so Jin means somebody who has won, who has been victorious. In which war? Which war did you fight in which you came out as a victor? So
Jitendriya.
the
One
war,
Indriya.
yeah. So Indriya, and what is Indriya?
Senses.
Why senses are being called Indriya? Indriya. See, in English, it's fine. It's senses, right? So through these mediums, we are contemplating the reality, like the colors, the words, the smell, the taste, right? In Sanskrit, why are we using word Indriya, right? So have you heard the word Indra? Saudharmendra. Yeah. So Indra means the king of devas, right? So devon ke raja ko Indra कहते हैं, right? So Indra ka in Sanskrit, one meaning of Indra, one meaning of Indra is the king of all the devas, okay? The other meaning is Indra is another name for Atma. So Atma is called Indra, okay? And the Atma Indra knows through which medium the Atma Indra drives on the chariots of these senses to know. So these are the means of the Indra Atma to operate. Atma is conscious being. What is Atma? जो जानता है देखता है, the knower. So the knower has to know. So the Atma, the Indra, has to know. How does this Atma in mundane state knows? How does it know? How? Through eyes, through ears, through tongue, through its nose, through skin. So we use these senses. So these are the instruments of the Indra Atma. So instrument of Indra are called Indriya. Okay. So Indriya, the Atma, which is using Indriyas to know. Now, we are looking at it from the perspective of instrument. Like these are the aiding instrument which helps me in knowing. Correct. So I will say your specs, if you use glasses, if you use specs, right? They are your assets or liabilities. Do they help you? Do they help you or do you need their help?
Need their
You're
help.
compelled. You're compelled. You're compelled to use them. So they are not the sign of your asset. They are the sign of you not being able to operate without them. So they are actually sign of your dependence on them. Similarly, you're calling Atma Indra, but how laughable is this that this Atma cannot see without eyes? So these are signs of its dependence. So now there has to be a war. Now there has to be a war that, okay, I don't want to use specs. This is not the ideal thing to do. I actually want to get rid of them. In ideal state, I would not use a wheelchair. I would want to get rid of wheelchair. Yeah, you can say that it is a great help, but it is not the sign of my physical fitness. It is the sign of my physical ailment. So you can tell me that my eyes are working super fine and I'm really grateful that I have working eyes. But they are not something to be worn as badge of honor. They are pinpointing towards this soul, which is capable of knowing everybody, is now compelled to know and see through these eyes, to listen through these ears. So now there is a gray area for a war to happen. So a soul realized that, okay, I was thinking that these are my friends, but in turn, it turns out I am dependable on these. These are not my friends. So it is these indriyas that I want to get rid of. But can I? Can I get rid of this wheelchair so easily when I can barely walk on my own? Then I'll have to find out a way. I'll have to be healthy. I'll have to do something. I'll have to take some course of remedy. I'll have to do something. So Jenner is a person who identified this dependence and who waged a war against his own senses, who said, I am not going to operate through these senses. I'm going to regain my consciousness, which should be independent, which has been dependent on these senses for so long. So, how do these senses make me surrender to themselves? It is through these objects of senses. My eyes make me feel that if I get to see something beautiful, I'll be pacified. So then I start war by saying that, okay, there is nothing outside which is beautiful. And therefore, I have no business to do with something of beauty which is there outside. So we create a disconnect between the objects of senses and our own desires. That is the first way of starting the war. You have started. If it is mean that we are on war if we have declined the senses, the objects of five senses. Understood? So that's how this whole word is coming. So Indra is Atman, who's actually the great knower. But what a pity that this knower, without Atman, without soul, the eyes cannot see. But now the tables have reversed. The soul thinks that it cannot see without eyes. A dead person's eyes are there, but they cannot see. Your binoculars don't see anything. You have to wear your binoculars for them to operate. So they were barely instrument of matter. They are barely the lenses. The lenses don't see. You need a seer behind the lenses for lenses to operate. But what a pity. This Indratma thought that these eyes see, and thanks to these eyes, and I'm so thankful to these eyes, I am so grateful that I have all these senses. So there came a wisdom inside this soul that, okay, no, what I was thinking as luxury is actually my depravity, that I am deprived of my own independence to know. My basic right to know independently has been compromised because of these senses. How did sense do this? They created the illusion that you need to listen to good music, you need to taste delicious food. Aroma should be good. You should have put on some good scents, some good aromatic things, and then you need to have comfortable space, air conditioning, everything. So all these five senses created an illusion that, okay, this is what happiness looks like, and that kept this soul under the dependence, under the ring of five senses. So Jin is somebody who waged war against these five senses, who created his own uh, kingdom of infinite knowledge, Keval Gyan, and who abandoned all the five senses. So he's called Jin, okay? And a person who idealizes such a person is called Jain. So the believer of Jinnah is called Jain. Okay? Understood the whole thing, how it is starting? It is the whole thing is about knowledge. I am a knower. So the knower should know independently. But I'm not knowing independently. Why? Because the friends which I have, they are not my friends. They act like friends, but in real terms, they are enemies. And I have to get rid of them. So the person who has already gotten rid of them is my ideal. I'm calling him Jinner, the victor, the Vijeta, one who has defeated the senses. And because I'm his follower, I'm being called Jain. Okay, and therefore we say Jai Jinendra. We don't say Jai Mahavir, Jai Parshnath, Jai Adinath. When we greet each other, we remind us of our resolve that we have to defeat senses. We are not in the followership of a person. We are on a mission. I do not adore Mahavir Bhagwan because he is Mahavir. I adore him because he is the victor. He is Jinendra. He has defeated the senses and the desires that arise out of senses. Understood? So, therefore, it is being said, Shri Jin Dharma Hamara Pyara. This dharma is so beautiful that it is not asking us to blindly follow anybody. It is not idealizing anybody. It is just reminding us that, okay, I can defeat dependence, my power, my greatness. I can recall it. So, Shri Jin Dharma हमारा प्यारा तिसकी सेवा किया करें। ठीक है, our Jain religion is dear to us, let us all be serving it। कैसे करेंगे हम, आगे बताएंगे। यस प्लीज,
Uh,
पूछिए क्वेश्चन,
Hello,
यस
sir.
यस।
So, a question. Basically, does that mean that for ekindriya jeev, it is easier to get keval gyan than panchindriya? Because then
Yeah,
we have to
so
control so many senses, right?
yes, नहीं नहीं, yeah, so see, there are two things. The first thing is that first you have to have the wisdom to contemplate that you are in dependence. You're in a dependent state. For that, you need to have, how for how long, if we read history, for how long people have been enslaved. Countries, all the countries all together, they could be so easily enslaved. Despite having, so it's not more about how capable you are, what powers do you have. It's about your capacity to even contemplate whether what I'm calling freedom is freedom or not. And for that, mind is required. We call it mana. That mana is only available to jivas which have five senses working, because it requires data from multiple entries. So one sensed organism only has data coming from the sense of touch. It cannot in its mind frame the real definition of dependence. Forget about dependence. Its problem now is not of getting free from this body. Its problem is to make this body survive. So for two sensed organism, three sensed organism, four sensed organism, problem is not liberation, problem is survival. It is for people like you and me who have food in their fridges, who have safety, who have constitution protecting them, who have luxury of basic shelter, bare minimum needs of life, the basic minimum of lives who have fulfilled. Then we can think, otherwise we will be thinking about the food that I have to cook in the evening. So I'll be doing some daily labor in some field right now. I'll not be talking about moksha. So this is very simple fact. It is often debated that what is more important, religion or money? Dhan bada ya dharma? Yeah. What is bigger? If you do not have money, you won't want dharma. Once only you've sorted out your basic priorities of life, then you only can be privy to talk about all these intellectual stuff, right? So it's a two-way sword, okay? Either financial independence can make us arrogant and may poke us to travel around the world, have all sorts of adventures, eat everything, experience everything, and make best out of this life. And that's a very wrong route to take. The other way of, when you have no tensions with regards to your financial or health-wise emotional constraints, if you do not have any obligations of such, then you can then contemplate that, okay, let me decode what exactly is going on. Why did I take birth? What happens after I die? What does it even mean that the soul is there or there's just body? So all these contemplations will only come when we have all sorts of reliefs available to us. We call it Bodhi Durlabh. First, you need to have basic bare minimums, right? Then only. So dharma is a very, very, very what should I say? Very costly affair. It's not, very, you do not get luxury of discussing dharma when you are devoid of resources. Just consider if I'm suffering from, I can have everything. I can have great family, all sorts of luxuries, great bank balances. But if I'm suffering from terminal disease and I'm inside ICU, what will I do of all the talks of Utpadve, Drovya, Gunastan, Maranastan, Moh, Kashay, Pa? All that I want is I'm begging with my doctors, tell me what are my chances of increasing 15 more days my life expectancy. Can we do something? Do we have any other line of treatment for this disease? So the orientation changes completely the moment you remove even one part of your reliefs that we have got. So if I'm blind, life changes. If I'm deaf, life changes. If I'm dealing with terminal disease, life changes. If I have a dependent person on me who is at the risk of losing its life, my whole life is going to be there. I cannot sit down and contemplate on these things. So it's very costly. It's a great luxury that we are able to talk and converse about these things at such open stage. Like, okay, we both are talking because we have no other businesses to do. So, ek indriya, do indriya, teen indriya, char indriya, and panch indriya asangi jivas, they are called jivas dealing with karma fal chetana. Their troubles are already so much that their day goes in daily firefighting. They do not have the time to go enter a boardroom, sit in a round table, call everybody, and then let's strategize what we have to do on the next year's company day. What next are we going to do? Where should we have our party next for annual celebrations? It's daily firefighting for them. The religion is not available to them. So it is for people like you, like me, that we have somehow been so lucky, so blessed that we are discussing on these things. Therefore, yes, it is complicated, you rightly put, because we have five senses in one. We have so many distractions open to us, but that's what we are praying for. Okay, we do not get deluded into those distractions. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Paras,
Yeah, Jai Jinendra, Anubhavji. My question is, maybe I'm going on a slight tangent or so, but just to understand, so when we say Ekendriya, Beindriya Jeev, I'm taking the example of an ant. Ant is a
Mhm.
Beindriya Jeev, and
Yes.
they are walking on the road. But if you put a finger out, then it will, even though it has only touch and taste, how is it able to navigate past, like identify like an obstruction and then carve out a path from the side? So if it does not have man, what would we
Very
call it?
nice.
Because it is able
Very
to
nice.
figure out its way.
It's a classic question. It's a classic question of whether how can we say that they do not have mana, they do not have senses which tell them to choose between what to do and what not to do, right?
Right.
Like as a Sangiji, I'm saying what does my mind help me for? So I can choose if there is a pit filled with litter. I will use my mind to, change my path. I'll not fall into that pit. Yeah. This is what I think that my mind does. But no. Am I audible, everybody? Yes? Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, in Jainism, there are two concepts, and I think we all must take note of these. This is out of syllabus, but let's say general knowledge. Okay. One is man, which is the what should I say, natural well-wisher of soul, which is thinking about, what should I do to maximize my savings? What should I do to crack that interview? What should I do? In which stock should I invest? In which company should I apply? What type of business should I choose? So constant thought are happening inside your mind. All those thoughts are your well-wisher thoughts. Though the orientation is wrong. I think that money is good. So my wrong belief is that the having more money is having more success and more happiness. The orientation is wrong. But because of that tangent of orientation, my mind is a well-wisher. So it is constantly thinking that how can I increase my chances of promotion? How can I increase the chances of my maximizing my wealth, my profit? Yes, constantly it is daily on a daily basis it is thinking on the same lines. How do I get rid of the problems so that I can maximize the benefit? So mind is doing this. This is the wrong conception. So along with mind, there are four more things. We call them char sangya. What do we call them? Sangya. Four things. They are found in all life forms, regardless of their stature, whether they are one sensed beings, two sensed, three sensed, four sensed, five sensed. Regardless of who you are, you deal with this. This will resonate with Darwin's theory. Okay. What are those four names? So every living organism will have natural desire of ahar. It will find out its food. You 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 save it, like in whatever way you want to save the sweet that you've preserved in your house. If an ant has to find out where the sweet is, it will find out a way. A bird will find out a way from where it has to collect its food. Nobody has taught the recently born rabbit how to be hungry and how where to find food. Who tells a child that how where you will find milk? It will know. It will know how to drink milk. It will know how to ask for it, and the mother will have to give it. So ahar sangya, this is being called sangya. Sangya means it is a kind of knowledge which is important for survival, and it is pre-installed in all mundane beings, regardless of their forms. And for this knowledge to access, you do not require any additional intelligence. It will find out. So a tiger will not look on an apple tree and say, okay, I'm going to eat apples today. It would hunt down a rabbit, a deer, because its ahar sangya says that, okay, I want to eat flesh, I want to eat fresh meat. But a rabbit would want a carrot. It will not want uh, 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 small animals like turtle, like fish, or any. It won't want any other animal because its ahar sangya is directing it to be vegetarian, and also in vegetarian to eat its own type of food. Correct? Okay, so first is ahar. It is important. And second is the must to increase the chances of your survival, which is called bhai. Okay? So, there are people who humans will have automatic, nobody has taught us to be scared of snakes. But the moment I see snake, I somehow get alarmed. That is my bhai sangya talking to me that, okay, if you want to live, keep yourself away from this animal. Correct? So, a recently born, um, what are those animals? I'll show you. We have done that video or not? Let me see if we can do this. If I have that video, it will explain us how. I'm not sure if I have it here.
But Anubhavji, these Bhaya also gets inculcated into our minds as we grow. So science says, for example, toddlers are not afraid of spiders or anything, right? So when we grow up, we formulate these things and
Yes, yes. So there is a beautiful documentary by BBC where the children, the toddlers, are exposed to a lot of snakes, and snake before reacting to the toddlers before reacting to snakes, they first have eye contact with their parents. And based on how parents show, like if they're happy, smiling, they will then again go to those snakes and they'll start playing with them. So these are basic learning mechanisms. That's how we are trying to adjust to the reality we have. But that sense, if there was nobody in the jungle, and if I'm left out in open, right? Then how will we decide what is safe for me and what is not safe for me? That is being tackled by just a second. Iguana, yes. See. So iguanas, with iguanas, there is a problem that they have to hatch their eggs out in scent. And the season is that it's too much of heat when their eggs are hatched. Okay. And now in that scent area, there are many snakes at that season. So now the mothers of iguana cannot be there while the eggs are hatched. So they wait up in the hill. Okay. And these hatched eggs will have baby iguanas coming out of them. And now these baby iguanas have this simple task. Right after their eggs are broken, they have to reach safely to the top to their mothers. In between, all these snakes will be after them. This is BBC's documentations, and it's a bit. I'm already sorry if it makes you feel uncomfortable, but that's how the life is.
A snake's eyes aren't very good, but they can detect movement. So if the hatchling keeps its nerve, it may just avoid detection.
Uh, the whole documentary is really actually disturbing. It has just come out of its egg, and there are so many snakes already waiting to eat it. There is no parent, there is nobody to tell him that you have to run this way, like this, and it still knows. How does it know? We call it Bhay Samkhya. It tells him that what to be afraid of and what you have to gather courage to save yourself from. Yes? So, Ahar, how will you find food? Because without food, you cannot be alive. Bhai, you have to protect yourself. Without fear, you cannot be alarmed at how to, from where to be and from where to run away from. Yes. The third is then you have to multiply. So it's called method. So every species would know how to reproduce without any school, without any teaching. You will automatically have, after a certain age, the urge to reproduce. Because this is how the world, the nature keeps itself alive. Everybody who is natural, who is living, will, after sorting out its food, after sorting out its survival, it will have to reproduce. Correct? And for them, there is no option like, okay, brahmacharya vrat le lo, practice celibacy. This is for us, again, who have mind. For ek indri, do indri, teen indri, it's their life cycle. They take birth, they grow up, they learn their means of saving themselves, they learn the means of hunting to gather their food, and afterwards, what next they do? They reproduce. So, third is method. And if you have crossed these three, then there is nothing major left for you to do in this world. So if you have excess time, then the fourth one is parigraha. Then you can accumulate, which is also a natural urge. Because you have sorted it out, your food is sorted, your security is sorted, and you have also done what you were required to do, that you have, continued the cycle of legacy of your family. Done. What else? So now I would want to leave a mark. So I will have the best building in the town, the best car in this country, the best jewelry I would wear. So you would want to accumulate. The fourth sangya is parigraha. These four things do not require intervention of man. You can very well survive without the use of your man. Man is not required. So, what is the use of man? There is only one use of man, and that is to contemplate whether whatever you are doing is right or not. And therefore, man is the simple yardstick for a person to decide or come out from the great darkness of wrong belief, of delusion, to the right path. So, man's utility is in Atmahit, in self actualization. So मन का काम सम्यक दर्शन है. The man is used to take our hand and take us to the right path. Rest, everything is done by your natural instinct. In science, we call them natural survival instinct. In Jainism, we call them sangyas. So every jiva. So a bear would know that how to store honey if he wants to. A bird would know that how to, if I'm going to hatch, if they have to lay eggs, they would know how to make their own nest. Nobody has taught the bees to make their beehive. They do it so beautifully, so perfectly. So it's their natural instinct. It does not require man. If I'm using my man in these mundane things, which can anyway be done without man, then it is called misuse of your man. So the real use of man is in contemplating what is good for me, what is bad for me, what should I let go of. So हेय, ज्ञेय and उपादेय का विचार करना, ये मन का काम है. पैसा कैसे आएगा? How can I keep myself safe and healthy? If you're using your mind to ensure this, it is actually the wasteful use of a very precious thing, very precious opportunity. Okay, so that's how the two sensed beings, even three sensed being, like you asked, that how does ant know that I have to run away from this situation? It is not using its mind. It is just using its survival instincts, which we are calling as sangya. ओके, चार संज्ञाएं संसारी जीवों के होती हैं. यस रितेश जी.
बस ये सवाल था कि दिस फोर संज्ञास, जो मन होता है, तो मन, सॉरी फॉर हिंदी बिकॉज इंग्लिश में मुझे उतना अच्छे
इट्स
से
ओके,
नहीं
इट्स
पता
ओके, इट्स
चलता.
ओके. इट्स
तो ये जो मन होता है, ये जो चार संज्ञा है, उसको कम करने के लिए होता है कि हमारे को बताने के लिए होता है कि इसके पीछे मत भागो, या फिर ये हमारे पास है लेकिन इसके पीछे नहीं भागना है, या इसकी थोड़ी ग्रेविटी कम करने के लिए.
I'll tell you one beautiful thing. Okay, we all are trapped in binary. समझिएगा, ठीक है? Simple. We have two worlds. One is of this body, physical world. And for this world, this body needs food, this body needs rest, this body needs shelter, safety, all sorts of things. ठीक है? And if I consider this body as me, then I will also be required to reproduce and sustain how this legacy continues. So, what this body was made of was my parents. What I am going to leave behind will be my children. So, this is how you sustain one world. So, this one world has a different game altogether. It has to live, eat, reproduce, and then die. This is its timeline. At the same time, I have a conscious world in me, which is very much myself, not this body. And that conscious world does not need food, it needs calmness, it needs peace. It is specified by the notion of happiness. It is hungry for happiness. And it thinks that through through the use of knowledge, it can pacify its hunger for happiness. This soul does not need to reproduce because it is imperishable, it will not pass away. But it will be satisfied only by the notion of peace, calmness, happiness, contentment, joy. Correct? Correct. Now, there is the mix between these two, which we are calling I. So, if my I is tilting towards this physical body binary, then my whole life is going to be about, having a great life filled with all luxuries, do whatever you want to do, and make sure that this body remains happy, healthy, and fine. If my notion of I is divided, okay, I'm soul and I'm body also, which is clueless, which is in confusion, I'm going to spend a life of confusion. I'll be going to out in the parties, but I'll be regretting it. Oh, I'm not doing the right thing. I should not have done this. This is so paap. धर्म में तो मना किया है. I'll be enjoying that thing. I'll be enjoying these things, but because I have no clarity to which party do I belong to, I'll always be not present fully in any of the things I'll be doing. So I will be devoid of the physical pleasures that I could derive from this body because the notion of self is now attached, and I'm saying, oh, I enjoyed, but I have sinned somehow. I should not have done that. So mind is divided. It is enjoying and it is also repenting at the same time. Yes. And third scenario in out of this binary, you choose the self, which now maintains this body because it is needed. It is the instrument, but is not obsessed with this body. Yeah, so I do not need fancy food, fancy clothes, fancy house. I just need that much which survives it. And I'm very much focusing on calmness, on forgiveness, on ignoring things, on meditation. And I'm sorted that I'm not missing out on anything even if I'm not going out. See, ठीक है? These two states, one is the state of mithyatva, other is the state of samyaktva, and the beachwala state is the state of inquiry, where we are practicing which way to choose. Correct? Now, Acharya Pujyapat Swami beautifully says this. How do you understand the consequences of it? He says, जीव जीव का हित करे, कर्म कर्म की वृद्धि. जीव जीव का हित करे. A person who is in this binary will prioritize the well-being of jeev. Karma karma ki vriddhi. A person who is on the side of this nature, this physical entity, will try to ensure that his body should be healthy, happy, and smart, and good and rolling. कर्म कर्म की वृद्धि. निज बल सत्ता सब चहे, को न चहे निज रिद्धि. So the answer to your question is, where does your locus of I reside? It will define what will be prioritized over the time for you, right? So I, the soul, if I am the soul, then this body becomes secondary priority. It's not the main priority. But if I am the body and the soul is not there, then this becomes my dharma to keep healthy, to keep like my temple will be my gym. My upavas will be having salads, lots of salads, proteins, nutrients, everything. My doctor will be my Bhagwan, right? My bank balance is my security. So all this is the religion of this body, whatever keeps this going. So it's the notion of I will decide which way to choose, what way to go. So it's not crime to feed this body. This is your basic instinct. But do you also have additional capability to think beyond body, think about the soul which we are, think beyond this lifetime? Then your focus will shift, right? So this is how these two will be dealt with. Yes, Nikki ji.
Sir, I'm having a question that how these creatures are being able to operate without mind, because what I have understood is I'm not able to operate by single indriya without the application of mind. Unless and until one has become Keval Gnani, completely detached, so everything will happen on auto mode. but then they have not become KVD and they are still attached. Then without application of mind, is there any third function which is helping them?
You are requiring mind because there is so much on your plate. So you have to constantly choose. Should I eat something or should I see something good? Should I go out or should I take rest? You have so many luxuries. Now think about a mosquito. What are the plans of weekend for this mosquito? What can it do? Like where to go? Should it decide to go to park and वहां पर it should drink somebody's blood, or should it stay inside home and drink family members' blood? What should I do? Its orientation of life, its life cycle is very simple. Its window is only that much open which it requires to see to lead its life as a mosquito. So these beings do not have so many scope of thoughts. They do not have, because we have all the five senses, we have so much on our plate. Mosquito only has four things at any point in time on its plate. And out of those four things, also that in very same direction. That okay, my life is simple. I have to find a person who is lying idle. I have to sit down at their skin and I have to drink. As long as they do not make me fly away.
So,
That's
sir,
all their
to
life
make
drama is.
to make that kind of decision, mind is not required. I'm surprised with that.
That's Sangya. Na? Sangya is also intelligence. What we are calling mind. In terms of life, physical life, we are calling it Sangya. See, again, adding to Riteshi's question, right? This body will have its own intelligence because nature wants it to survive. So even if you are lying idle, the body has its own temperatures which it acclimatizes to. You enter Himalayan territories, your body will automatically acclimatize to that temperature. It will already acclimatize to that oxygen. The moment you start climbing up, the lesser oxygen, the more breathing capabilities you'll need to have. The body will automatically adjust to that, right? So our body has mechanisms to keep itself safe. That is being tackled by what? By Sangya. Sangya is the intelligence which is there inside the body itself. So,
So
right?
these
So if
sangyas
I
are
have,
physical or the function of the soul.
it's the soul's intelligence which is drive, which is installed with the type of body it takes. We call it, it is the result of gati nam karma. So whichever gati form you take now. So if I'm human, so I have human intelligence because it is the function of the gati nam karma. So, whichever gati I take, based on the character, the role specifications of that very life form, we have ahar, bhay, maithun and parigrah of that form automatically उसकी संज्ञा हमारे अंदर संचारित होती है. So it is actually body intelligence, but being functioned by a sentient being. So Namkarma is Aghatya karma, right? Which is which is the decider of the body which we are going to take. So the body is made by Namkarma. In Namkarma, there is Gati Namkarma, which is Jeev Vipaki Prakriti, means its impact is not on body, its impact is on soul. So what if I'm inside a lion's body, but I have the soul mindset of a cow? That will be a problem. So the Odaric Nam Karma will make me into lion's body. So that will be the making of the body. This is the hardware. But the software also has to be of lion, no? So that will be Singha Gati Nam Karma. So in Triyanch Gati, I have to have emotions like that of a lion. So that is Jeev Vipaki. So Jeev ka intelligence hai. But it is closely knit to what type body type I have received. Understood? So it does not require mind. These are basic instincts that everybody has.
So these sangyas are completely different from mind.
Yeah, these are not the function of mind. These are your reflex. Like, if I throw a ball suddenly at you, automatically your hand will come. It's not the mind which has brought those hands, it's reflex. So, sangyas are the basic surviving reflexes of the soul. It will automatically know how to save itself. Okay, it's
Okay.
not the work of mind, it's the simple reflex action of that very organism. Okay, ठीक है,
So
चलो
that
चलो, let's yes, बताइए. Done. ठीक है, let's come back. It all originated from that conversation of jinn. श्री जिन धर्म हमारा प्यारा, इसकी सेवा किया करें. It went to Indriya, Indriya went to come Indriya and Jada Indriya, and that's how we had this discussion. But it's okay, it's okay. Now what we're doing, how do we do the preservation of this great religion of Jinnah? So now the next lines are beautiful, beautiful lines which we are going to quickly read. दूर भगावे बुरी रीतियां. See how progressive Jainism is. The language, in our families, usually it is said, okay, हमारे यहाँ तो ऐसे ही होता है. This is how we do it. So that's how these superstitions flow. What is being said in Jain paradigm? It is being said, do if even if it has been happening and they do not fit to today's context well, then we will not refrain from discontinuing those practices. Dur bhagave buri ritiya. Let us throw away bad social practices. Yeah, not very long ago, about 70, 80 years ago, even the Jain temples were divided into caste and creed. That, okay, this temple is of this caste and they'll be going to this, darshan to this. These people are not allowed inside these temples. So they'll have to make their own Jain temple. So these are not the right practices which were in practice. So what is being said in Jainism, you can never, give this excuse that this is how it is done. If something is outrightly wrong, then it has to be wrong. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine that we used to, like the Rishabh, all the Tirthankaras had their first ahar with kheer. So all the Tirthankaras had their ahar with kheer. Not first ahar, like in ahar, most of the Tirthankars took kheer. So kheer will be of milk. Yeah. So Jains can to anyways consume milk. But now that's fine. That's why people used to take care of the cows well. They were not forcefully impregnated in earlier times. The medical sciences were not so cruel at that time that we can take advantage. We can make a cow into a production factory. But now, since the inception of all this dairy industry, the milk is nothing but the contributory to the meat industry. If you're connected to dairy, you're connected to meat as well, unless you have your own cow which you take care of. Correct. So now somebody, if he says ke nahi nahi nahi, even Tirthankaras had taken milk, you cannot negate the milk. So the milk is not being negated. It is being said that if himsa is having at industrial level, then the least we can do is we cannot stop industries from operating. The least we can do is refrain ourselves from participating from that industrial just. Dur bhagabe buri. You cannot give the evidences from the past to a practice which is evidently wrong today to justify it. That's how progressive the dharma is. Correct. So if you're okay, if you know that from where you purchase your milk, from where you take your dairy products, they are coming from a healthy, happy place. Nothing cruelty, nothing wrong is happening there. It's okay, you can have it. There is no. So extremes should always be avoided. Suddenly, what is happening is those who are following veganism, they've become so rigid that they will be against milk only. And those who are not following veganism will be so rigid that they will be pro industry, pro dairy only. They both are on two different extremes. Our ultimate enemy is hinsa. So if hinsa is happening, it is not usable, no matter how pure it is. If hinsa is not happening, it is usable. Simple. You have to use simple yardstick. So no argument should be pro hinsa. So I cannot justify an old practice when clearly that practice visibly incur hinsa. Okay. So दूर भगावें बुरी रीतियां, सुखद रीति का करें प्रचार, मेल मिलाप बढ़ावें हम सब, धर्मोन्नति का करें प्रसार. This is a beautiful line. We must, you know, as a newer generation, at least we can give it a try. The last generation was not very successful at doing it, but let us erase the lines of differences amongst us. Digambaras, Shvetambaras, Terapanthis, Peacepanthis, Sanakvasi, Deravasi, Taranpanthi, all these. मेल मिलाप बढ़ावे हम सब धर्मोन्नति का करें प्रसार. All the good practices should be propagated, and the differences can be kept within ourselves. Why do I have to highlight the differences? Why can I not highlight the similarities between us? So I cannot tell you what you do, what you choose to do inside your house. This is not my business. I cannot tell you which puja to read today in the temple. That is your personal thing to do. But I can tell you that, you know what? Mahavir Bhagwan has told us about six substances. It is acceptable by all. Seven tattvas, acceptable by all. Eight karmas, acceptable by all. Five sins, seven addictions, there are very few things which are of difference, and there are so because there is this scripture called Tattva Sutra. Acharya Swami Dev wrote it. This granth, this is called the Encyclopedia of Jainism. It mentions all the geography of Jainism, all the karmic presentation in Jainism, all the tattvas and padarthas, the way to moksha, the way to four gatis, the way to samsara, everything is mentioned. How the knowledge operates, that is also mentioned. So this scripture mentions everything about Jainism, what Tirthankar Mahavir Bhagwan said. Okay, okay, everybody. And the good thing is, this one scripture is followed by both the traditions, all the traditions of Jainism, Shvetambara, Digambara, Terapanthi, Bispanthi. So why can't we all together sit down and discuss on Tattva Sutra? Why do we have to discuss on our differences? So मेल मिलाप बढ़ावे हम सब. When we are together, the dharma gets propagated. When we're divided, dharma's anti-prabhavna happens. It's not just the prabhavna, it's negative prabhavna that happens. Okay? Now, the next two lines are very important for us, and I would want each one of us to memorize these two lines. You know, you can recall these lines anytime, whenever you're walking, you're going, you're thinking anything. These should act as mantras. सुख दुख में हम समता धारें रहें अचल जिमि सदा अटल सुख दुख में हम समता धारें whether it is the state of happiness or it is the occasion of sadness, whether you are in joy or in suffering, you do not have to be overjoyed or over suffered. Samata, you have to be sane, calm, composed. रहे अचल जिमी सदा अटल. हाँ? होकर सुख में मग्न न फूलें, दुख में कभी न घबरावें. Do not be scared at the times of adversity. Do not be overjoyed at the time of your good days. Don't. You remain composed. This composure will reduce the karmic influx and in turn will balance your karmic balance. It will keep it at check. Yes? The second line is more important. न्याय मार्ग को लेश न त्यागे वृद्धि करे ने जातु बल. Sometimes there are testing times, okay? Everything is going against you, nothing is going your way. And at such times, you often get opportunities that you can take a easier but a wrong path. You know, you can lie, you can steal, you can speak the untruth. So it is being said that, okay, these are like the cycles, like day and night, Sukh and Dukh will keep on coming and going. Never leave the path of justice. न्याय मार्ग को लेश न त्यागे. What will it do? It will increase our atam bal, the potential of self to endure joy and suffering will be bettered if we remain in our testing times on the right path. We do not give up to testing times. We do not change our path. We do not deviate from our honesty, from our just behavior. It will only help us to our benefit. Yes. Uh, last four lines are there. Sorry, last six lines. We'll just read them and then I'll take the questions. Okay. अष्ट कर्म जो दुख हेतु हैं तिनके क्षय का करें उपाय नाम आपका जपे निरंतर विघ्न शोक सब ही टल जाए. Let us try to destroy the eight karmas that lead to unhappiness in the world. So our problem is with karmas or our orientation towards the outcome of karma. So Bhagwan, I do not have any enemy outside me. See, this is simple uh, mindset game. If I was walking by and I saw that you pushed me and I fell down, it is obvious that I'll be angry at you. Okay. But if I was walking by and there was too much of crowd and three people, they together hit me and then I fell down. And it was very much rushing, right? So I still fell down. But now my anger is not pointed towards one person. And because I do not know who actually is responsible for my falling down, I actually do not get angry. I just say, oh, it's too much of crowd. So when there are too many reasons, your anger get divided. And then at such situation, you do not get angry. You start thinking, okay, why did I enter this market only? Yes. So it's a simple thing. When we have visible cause to our effect, our whole energy of emotions get invested after that cause. But if we do not get to see the cause, then anger, our anger is subdued. It is very much diluted. It gets diluted. So what Bhavir Bhagwan says is that if Paras Bhai, we both entered a fight and you started actually saying words that are very disrespectful for me. What Mahavir Bhagwan is saying that, okay, listen, Paras Bhai is not responsible for this. It is my karma which are responsible for this. Though Paras Bhai is visible, but because he is visible, it's obvious that my anger will be on him. Mahavir Bhagwan is saying that, okay, let's play with psychology. Like, let's play with our psychology. What? You imagine that not anybody who is outside is responsible for your pain, but it's your very own karmas which are responsible. So, when you change your focus from the outside to your own karma, the first thing it does is it acts like a first aid on your emotional state. Instead of getting angry, you enter a self contemplation state. Correct? So, considering eight karmas as the reason of whatever is happening in your life, what it does, it acts as a shield to save you from passions. Rather than you blaming others for what is happening, you will enter a state of self contemplation, self inquiry that why did it happen to me? Yes. Consider it like this. If I have pushed you, you have fallen down. What if your feet got stuck in a stone and you fell down? Then you will get angry at the stone. You will tell yourself, where was I looking? What was I doing? I should have been more alert while walking on the road. So when you know that the reason is not outside, the stone cannot make you fall down, you instead of anger, you come to a corrective state that okay, what I can do next time so that I can avoid this situation. So it's the same psychology. I am saying instead of what is happening to me right now, instead of blaming everybody who is around me, I am saying it's not them, it's me who has done something wrong. What can I correct now? So that now the next karmic contemplation of my emotions will be different than this. So this is what is being said. अष्ट कर्म जो दुख हेतु है मेरे दुख का कारण is not the situation. It is my own karmic residual, karmic fruition which has come to me today. So, hey Bhagwan, whenever something adverse happens to me, I'm not going to blame anybody outside. I'm going to contemplate about my own wrongdoings from the past and I'll try to not do it, not repeat it right now. So, what will I do? Naam aapka jape nirantar, vigna shok sabhi tal jaye. Basically, I will take my focus from what has happened to a better thing and I'll put my focus there so that I will not be wasting my mood on things which have already happened. So नाम आपका जपे निरंतर मतलब I'll divert my mind from that to you. So all the to avoid all the difficulties and distresses. Okay, this is a simple hack to blame everything on your karma and you'll have no enemies outside. Last, आत्म शुद्ध हमारा होवे, पाप मैल नहीं चढ़े कदा, विद्या की हो उन्नति हम में, धर्म ज्ञान हो बड़े सदा. So our soul keep on becoming purer and purer day by day by reduction of rag, and I will never have the pap or imperfections or sins in me. And vidya ki ho unnati hum mein, our right knowledge keeps on developing, keeps on increasing, and our knowledge about religion is also, we become more aware about it. So dharma gyan ho bade sada. So what do we do? हाथ जोड़कर शीश नवावें, तुमको भविजन खड़े खड़े, यह सब पूरो आस हमारी, चरण शरण में आन पड़े. हे भगवान, I with my folded hands bow down to you and pray that please fulfill our these desires. I have come to your charan sharan. I have come to your shelter. Please fulfill these desires. In these desires, I have not asked for any luxuries, any comforts. I only want to get rid of my karmas. May the sin never approach me. May I always tread the path of justice. May I always ever keep on serving my Jain Dharma. This is what has been prayed by the children in front of Bhagwan. Okay, any questions on this?
अनुभव जी, ये जो मतलब इसकी मैं सिर्फ आई जस्ट वांटेड टू अंडरस्टैंड द रागा इस सेम रहे भावना में, रहे भावना ऐसी मेरी इज द सेम राग व्हाट वी नीड टू सिंग दिस वन.
हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सेम है. वीतराग सर्वज्ञ हितंकर भविजन की अब पूरो आस, ज्ञान भानु का उदय करो हम, मिथ्यात्म का होय विनाश. जीवों की हम करुणा पालें, झूठ वचन नहीं कहें कदा, पर धन कबहु न हरहूं स्वामी, ब्रह्मचर्य व्रत रखें सदा. तृष्णा लोभ बढ़े न हमारा, तोष सुधा नित पिया करें. श्री जिन धर्म हमारा प्यारा, तिसकी सेवा किया करें. दूर भगावे बुरी रीतियां, सुखद रीति का करें प्रचार. मेल मिलाप बढ़ावे हम सब, धर्मोन्नति का करें प्रसार. सुख दुख में हम समता धारे, न्याय मार्ग को लेश न त्यागे, वृद्धि करें निज आत्म बल. अष्ट कर्म जो दुख हेतु है, तिनके क्षय का करें उपाय. नाम आपका जपे निरंतर, विघ्न शोक सब ही टल जाए. आत्म शुद्ध हमारा होवे, पाप मैल नहीं चढ़े कदा. विद्या की हो उन्नति हम में, धर्म ज्ञान हो बड़े सदा. हाथ जोड़ कर शीश नवावे, तुमको भविजन खड़े खड़े, यह सब पूरो आस हमारी, चरण शरण में आन पड़े। तो ये अ, देव स्तुति थी, प्रेयर थी, प्रार्थना थी, like we did. In the end of it, there are some notes which are given, which are very beautiful from this prayer itself. One who is devoid of attachments, Vitragi, and aversions, is all knowing, Sarvagya, and preaches perfection, Hitopadeshi, of the perfection of the soul, is real God. Sacha Dev kise कहते हैं? Who is real God? Somebody is Vitragi, Sarvagya, and Hitopadeshi. He is real God. Okay? Second, one devoid of all attachments and aversions is a completely detached being. Somebody who is without rag and dvesh is called vitragi. Simple. One having the knowledge of all matter in the universe is an omniscient being. The all-knower is Sarvagya. Simple. Because he preaches perfection of the soul, he alone is a completely detached omniscient being and a preceptor. Because the Bhagwan is preaching us about the perfection of soul. He's giving us the wisdom of how to perfect ourselves. Therefore, he is the Sarvagya and he is Vitaragi and an orator, preceptor. So, this is quite important. For a person to be our teacher, the two conditions is that he has to fulfill. He has to be Vitaragi and he has to be Sarvagya. A person who is not Vitragi or Sarvagya cannot be our Tirthankar or Hitopdeshi, cannot be our Bhagwan. Because if he is not Sarvagya, he does not know everything. How can we trust him? If he is not Vitragi, how will we understand his intentions? Though he can know everything, but we'll never be sure whether he's willing to stop us from becoming Bhagwan so that there will be competition. He already a Bhagwan. Correct. So he has to be Vitragi so that his intentions are not flawed. He has to be Sarvagya that he knows everything. Then only he is eligible to be Hitopdeshi. So Hitopdeshi is one who is Vitragi and Sarvagya. Okay. Religion begins only when wrong belief is destroyed. Therefore, the prayer starts with Mithyatam ka karo vinash. Only when Mithyatva goes off, the religious journey begins. Before that, we are in that beach state, not sure in this binary where to go. All the bad karma leads to happiness. Good karmas we want and bad karmas we don't. This is ignorance. This is wrong. Good karmas or bad karmas, the consequence of every karma is unhappiness. 8 कर्म दुख के कारण है. पुण्य कर्म सुख का कारण है या नहीं? Is punya karma, the good karma, responsible for our happiness? No. If a karma is there, the karma is not responsible for my happiness. A wise devotee does not pray for anything else other than purification of his soul. A person who wants his soul to be purified is actually a right devotee. If a person who wants money, luxuries, uh, material things, he's not a person who is called devotee. Okay? Okay. Any questions? No. I wanted to have a quick feedback. Is it not looking like a very fundamental and very basic class? Because the topics are such as of now. So anything that we can not do or we can stop doing, which is being redundant or if it is getting too boring or something. Simple feedback. Can we have it
No,
from
sir,
everybody?
it's not a basic class. It is like reviving our foundation.
Okay. Any corrections that any suggestions that we can do or we can stop doing? Please, it will be good for everybody to
Can it
to
be in
make it
more
more.
detail and more technical?
Yeah, right now, because I have been told that I have to complete these bhags, these part, all the three parts before January, I think, right? Kripaji, we have to get done with these. Yes, before, because from the actual journey starts from Vitrag Vigyan. Yeah, so these are like the fundamentals. We're just exposing ourselves to the glossary of Jainism, that all the words that we'll be using are detailed understanding of Jainism. So I'm just touching these topics, and we are not, some chapters we are not even reading because they're simple reads, and even two-page reads they are, and the essence of them is already discussed. So we are running. It looks like a quick sprint because we have to reach to the actual beginning of the syllabus. Therefore, I'm really sorry that it is going so fast.
But sir,
Uh,
it feels like as if we are missing on some foundational part.
no, we will not. We will not, because what will happen? Whatever is given in Balbodh will be repeated in Vidrak Vigyan, but in much detail. Like we did Amokar Mantra only in chapter 1. When we'll start with the syllabus, we'll again come back to Namokar Mantra, and then we'll do the detailed definition of Arihanta, Siddha, Acharya, Upadhyaya, and Sadhu. That's when the problems will start. So you
No,
want
because it had
detailed study.
certified like my personal experience that the explanation provided by you on the Tirthankar why we should go only for the Sarvagya. It sorted the question why we shouldn't go for any other gods.
Yeah, so,
So
so, so the
those are
definitions
really
of the all five Parmeshris will be very much be read in detail, so detailed that you will find yourself in trouble, because then you'll have to write exams as well, learning those definitions. So, but it's so there is nothing which we are, we are just, our first intent is to be exposed to the different jargons of Jain philosophy, the words that we'll be frequently using. Then Vitrak Vigyan has everything again repeated in the same way. So these are just the quick readers. We are teaching to primary students right now. The moment we start our syllabus, it will be middle class students, like students from 6th to 10th. That will be the syllabus for Vitrak Vigyan, and then Tattvagyan will be far more in detail. Okay, so don't worry, don't think that we are going too fast. We're just going. I'm just discussing about the things which we must know, and I highlight wherever there is an important catch to take. Okay. Any other feedback question about how we can? Yes, yes, Kapil bhai.
Just a quick one, Anubhaji, from earlier what you were explaining about, we have Atma and we need five senses. So is Atma dependent on five senses, or five senses are kind of dependent on, and the one between the two, as in the war? I was just thinking, is so if we are saying Atma does not need the senses, and we Atma is kind of dependent on to seek at the moment. But if we reverse this, and if we say five senses feeds into Atma, and so kind of, so would that the reverse of it will be what Buddhism is kind of saying. So, key difference between Jainism and Buddhism, as I understand, is around for us, Atma goes on. For them, as long as we are living, the Atma they do acknowledge there is Atma and there is a knower, but that only functions while we have all these five senses. So, what I'm trying to say is, can I play it this way that as long as these five senses are there, Atma is there, and Atma's function of knowing, it exists because of these five senses being there. And then Atma, if there is these five senses are not there, then how do we prove there is Atma? And there is, so with these five senses being finished, the work of Atma finishes, because there is nothing more for Atma to do. It cannot function. So that's the death of Atma.
The very beautiful question, actually, this question is tackled by Srimad Rajchandra in Atmasiddhi Shastra Astitva Shanka, where he defines the existence of the soul. And I'll take it from there only.
Okay.
Uh, eyes cannot smell, and nose cannot see. Ears cannot see and taste, and lips and tongue cannot hear. Each sense is capable of perceiving the very object that it is capable of identifying. So eyes can identify color, forms. The ears can identify words, sound. Correct. So individual sense is only catering to individual objects of the senses. So there are five senses, and each sense has its own limitation. It can only cater to its own object. So these five senses have collected the information. But then there needs to be a person who is capable to understand the feedbacks from all these five senses. So Srimad Rajchandra ji writes, है इंद्रिय प्रत्येक को निज निज विषय का ज्ञान. Every sense has expertise in its own object. पर पांच इंद्रिय विषय का बोलो किसको भान? Then who is that consolidator who is equally with its own expertise, seeing, listening, tasting, feeling, all five things are being done by one entity. That one entity is not these senses, because these senses have limited capabilities. They are only catering to their one object. So the consolidator of these five senses, the knower of the information brought by senses is called Atman. So Atma is that entity which works on the feats given by all these five different senses. So it's the consolidator. Now, what you're saying between Jain philosophy and Buddha philosophy, Buddhism does not operate on the concept of self. It is Anatma Darshan, Anatmavad. They do not acknowledge the existence of soul. They call it soul, they call it mind. They do not term it as an object. They say its sanskar are traveling. What is happening? Its sanskars are traveling. So how does it work? Uh, so right now, if I have some grapes which are uh, I put those grapes in some liquid and I add some more ingredients and then I let them ferment. They automatically develop that there is some charm to it now. It's wine. And now if somebody drinks it, he will lose his senses. He will not be in his senses. So, can I say that the grapes have that power of deluding me? I should not eat grapes. If I eat grapes, I will be deluded. I'll not be in my senses. I'll be high. Can I say that? The grapes do not have liquor, they do not have alcohol. It's when all these ingredients are put together and are left to make an environment where they can ferment, and then automatically that flavor of alcohol takes birth. Similarly, what Buddhism is saying that when all these five matter, they all consolidate, then suddenly this consciousness originates. Just like what the Charvaka has said, right? So the consciousness is the very result of this equation of different things coming together. Just like in liquor, what we get as a diluting substance is the consequence of all these things coming together. There is no other like you cannot find that power separately. You have to ferment it, and that's how it is created. So consciousness in their culture is this, and therefore nirvana is completely shutting down of consciousness. So their nirvana is when the soul gets off. So there is no liberation where the soul will rest for time immemorial. So there was this lamp. It was there was oil in this lamp, and the lamp was lit. Sansar is as long as the oil is there. Nirvana is the oil gets famished, it gets over, the lamp goes off, that is called nirvana. Whereas in Jaina tradition, the soul is an entity and it cannot be destroyed. So it's not that we have to die to be liberated. We have to be free from ignorance to be liberated. So that is the basic fundamental difference between Jain philosophy and Buddha philosophy. So senses are different from consciousness in that capacity that consciousness is the accumulator of all the information brought in by the senses. So it's higher authority. So if I'm running a company and I'm CEO, the sales team only knows about sales. The advertising teams only knows about advertisement. The HR knows only about HR. The finance team only knows about finance. But I know about everybody. I am the CEO. So I have these five departments of touch, taste, smell, and I am the knower of all these five. The soul gets different from these five senses in this fashion. We'll be reading
Okay.
about we'll be reading about it in the chapter called Six Substances.
Okay,
Okay.
maybe for next class or another class. But I also wanted to understand if we so our Gen theory and Gen principles, they are based on on assumption, not assumption, but a belief that soul moves on, right? So to the next birth and everything. Because I have not seen my past life or future life. If I if we cut it out and take it off, will it become very difficult to explain Jainism or to, not for now, but we are out of time, but would that make teaching Jainism very difficult if we take the notion of soul movement out?
I'll put it very simply. You remove the notion of next birth, and all the religions of the world collapse.
But many talk
That
about
becomes a
karmas and
religion.
hmm.
That becomes a liberation. See, if I have to die and I have to bear no consequences, do not stop me from eating my beer. Sorry, drinking my beer. Sorry. Do not stop me from going anywhere that I wish to go. Do not stop me from hunting. Do not stop me from burning these jungles. Okay, fine. Then you will have the religion of civic sense that, okay, be in your boundary, care for environment. That will be religion. But do puja of Bhagwan who will give you Ashirwad, or there will be a day of judgment and then he'll be calling you from your buried body, and then there will be the deciding factor of whether you're going to the heaven or you're going to rot in hell. Everything goes off if you remove this proposition of soul traveling to next birth or remaining alive until the day of judgment. In any tradition, in Abrahamic tradition, in Hindu tradition, every religion is functioning on this basic fundamental doubt which is unsubstantiated till from eternity. Nobody has the proof of it, whether the soul endures after death or not. And even if 1% is chance of that happening, that 1% is too much. It changes everything. So you just say that okay, after death the game is over. 4 दिन की जिंदगी है, आराम से जियो. क्या मतलब है? Like, जीने के हैं 4 दिन, बाकी है बेकार दिन. जाए जाए फिर ना आए. So it becomes everything, like every. This is the basic premises of Charvak Mata. But we do not have any empirical evidence of soul not living after death, as good as we have no evidence of soul living after death. So these are the questions nobody has answers of. Nobody can verify. If I verify, I will have to die. If I have to die, I will not come back to tell you. But what if I come to know after dying that I am going to live? It's very bad for me then, right? ठीक है? We'll do this. There is this great mathematician. I'm forgetting his name. So he has given his gamble. He played a gamble. Okay. And he said that, okay, the God is not there. Let's say, let's gamble it out. And he has put in probabilities to substantiate that, okay, what is more beneficial belief to have. We'll be doing it in the next class. Okay. Yes, any questions? Or I think we should
Anubhavji,
stop
is there
today.
any other feedback for us? You asked for yourself, but from our side,
No, there is no. You guys are being wonderful audiences, and like I hope I'm not. It sometimes, because you all are coming from very different backgrounds, so it's important for me to know whether these talks are resonating with your background, with the life that you live. So if you feel any mismatch, or you want more practical examples, or more a different approach, then we can work upon it. Work on it. There are some questions on chat as well. When the body is dead, the eyes are still there but can't see. So it's clear that there is some other energy that helps the eyes medium to see. Same for tears. Yeah. So it's actually the consolidator. So because eyes cannot know what nose is doing, I need somebody different from eyes sitting behind the eyes to tell that, okay, what you saw, it smells like this and it tastes like this. So these senses individually do not mean anything, but consolidated information changes everything for me. Yes, Nikki.
Sir, when you discussed about dependency on five senses, one question was triggered out that how to break this dependency.
Yeah, this is why we are here in this Paramaga Honors course. Don't
Any
worry.
quick remedy?
No, nothing quick. The quick remedy is only that we have to know we are not the body, we are not the senses, we are the pure consciousness. Okay? The quick remedy we'll discuss shortly in the next session, but long remedy के लिए you'll have to stay in this course. ठीक है? चलिए, let's do Janvani
Uh,
Stuti.
just one last
Anubhav,
question,
please.
if I may.
Uh,
Anu,
Yes, please, 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 please.
sorry, just one last question. I think
Yeah.
coming to next week, and then we have Christmas and then New Year's as well. I just wanted to check everybody's schedule. Personally, for me, I'm traveling as well, so I might miss some classes. I don't know like what your thought was, and um we continuing as normal, then I'm happy to listen to the recordings as well.
I think we can decide if we have to keep Christmas off. Okay. ठीक है. We will decide it and put it on group.
Okay.
ठीक है. Okay, चलिए Janvani Stuti. निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है उसके लिए छिन पानी माँ को वंदना शतवानी माँ को वंदना शत बार 9 times from Karma.